Hello friends. In this video you're going to get to learn about the new moon in Cancer that is coming up in the early morning of June 25th. And I want to let you know that there are a lot of big energy, a lot of big noises. It's really loud on the world stage right now. I totally get it. And I want to let you know that the planets are really telling us a different story than certainly what you're seeing in the mainstream media or even your interpretations of what's going on. So this is one of the reasons it's so great for us to be leaning into what it is that we're getting from a cosmic point of view. What I know Lee Harris's guides recently called the galactic map of astrology. And so human design includes astrology, and the astrology is very, very helpful for us during this time when there is so much tumult and conflict going on in the world. But this new moon is in Cancer, and Cancer is all about healing. It's about caring. It's emotional. It's about the heart. So we're going to dive more into that, but I just wanted to let you know that as a introduction, and that we're going to go through a number of different alignments in addition to what's going on with the moon so that you can really see all of the supports that are available to you. All right, let's go ahead and dive in. We entered Cancer season just this last weekend on the summer solstice or the winter solstice if you're in the southern hemisphere. And the sun joined Jupiter, who's already been in Cancer. And during the solstice, they were in the same gate. And so we have a really expansive energy coming into this Cancerian season. And remember that the solstice begins the whole summer season or the winter season if you're in the southern hemisphere. So it's not just one day. It really sets the tone for the rest of the time. And so we want to also look at what happened during the summer solstice. If you were not able to watch my video about that yet, you can go and check it out because it is actually really beautiful and quite auspicious. And I think if your heart is hurting at all based on what's going on in the world, which I think most of us are, it can bring you some solace. So I really encourage you to check that out. And then if you're not familiar with human design, I know I have a lot of new subscribers, welcome. Or if you want to go deeper with your understanding about the human design transits, I do have a video training, which is my gift to you. It's called Understanding the Human Design Transits. And I do also have a 3-page PDF that I created to go with it that helps you to understand how you take the transit report of human design and you put it together with your human design chart and you look at to see what it means for you and what are some of the opportunities for you and some of the things to watch out for. So if you want to do that, the link for it will be down below because it is really helpful, especially if you're coming from a more astrological point of view, to understand more of the specifics of human design because they actually enrich the whole story when you put the two together. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the chart for the new moon. So this is the body graph of the new moon, and you can see here that the moon and the earth are in the same gate. That always happens during a new moon, right? Because they're both together, right? And that's why you can't see the moon, so it's a new moon. And they're both in the gate 52. So the gate 52 is on the root center. It's all the way down at the base of the spine, and it is where we connect to the earth, right? And it also it's one of the power bases, okay? It's one of the engines or one of the motors in human design. And it pulses with a pulse like what the earth pulse, the magnetism of the earth. So it's connected to that magnetism of the earth and the electromagnetic pulse that the earth is giving off through its torus field. And so the 52 is the energy for really gaining perspective when we come into stillness. So it has two names. It's called the gate of stillness in traditional human design, the gate of perspective in quantum human design. And the way that I understand this is that when we come into stillness, we gain perspective. right? And we know this from our meditation practices, right? Is when we come inside and we're able to, calm the mind, be able to let go of all of the different conversations we've been having, all of the obligations, all the responsibilities that we've had. And we're able to really come inside and be still and find some quiet in what is often a very talkative and busy mind, right? Our perspective changes because in our ordinary reality daily life, right, we have a particular perspective, a lens, if you will, through which we're looking at most of the time. And if we don't pause and stop and think, gosh, if I could see that from another perspective, what would I see? And this is one of the most important things that we as humanity need to be doing right now. Because part of the problem that we're having with so much tumult on the world stage is that people are locked into a single perspective. And they're locked into my way, my perspective is right. And your way and your perspective is wrong. And that's where we get conflict, right? Is when people just see things really, really differently. It's polarized. They're both, drowning in the need to be right. And they can't see the other person's point of view. They refuse to see the other person's point of view. And this can happen inside yourself with different parts of you that are not in agreement. It can happen with you, with your beloveds. It can happen in groups and communities, in organizations, in governments, right? Across the world. It can happen at every stage. And so we're just seeing it really large on the world, on the world axis. But how is this happening for you in your own life? And so the process of being able to come inside and be still, allow the justifications, the problem solving, the figuring everything out, the fear of what's going to happen, right? When you can move down into your heart and move more into your body, right? And in this case, move all the way down into your root, right? And find stillness there and ask yourself, how else could I see what's going on? Now, one way of looking at this, a perspective that I do find really helpful, is when you can think of this as going between grand perspective, right? And focus, real focus. The mate of the gate 52 is called focus. And both of these are in the logic circuit, which is left-brained energy. And left-brain energy tends to be very, very focused, right? Right-brained energy is expansive and left-brain energy is focused. So if we can think of this invitation to perspective is to be able to move from this really expanded, more right-brained way of seeing and knowing to a more focused and left-brain way of seeing and knowing. But it takes a shift in perspective to be able to do that. And generally speaking, we're really, really trained to be like this, right? To have that focal gaze and to really be seeing things in that way. And that makes it hard for us to have a bigger perspective. But think about it for a moment. In photography, right? Sometimes we have portrait photography where the back is blurred and the subject is in the foreground, right? And this part is in focus and this part is not, right? And that's what we think of when we really focus in on something, right? The subject pops out. But if you want to get a whole landscape, right, you have to open up that aperture. You have to get the whole scene. It's very different. And for you and for me, if we want to get that, we have to look in our peripheral vision. Right? We can't just keep looking straight in front of us like we do when we're looking at screens, like you're looking at me and I'm looking at you right now. We have to step back. And one of the easiest ways to do that is when you go outside, and especially if you can see a landscape, you immediately start to move in peripheral vision. And when you do that, according to Jill Bolte Taylor, who is a neuroanatomist who lost the use of her left brain due to a stroke, she had an incredible video on TED Talk videos. The first TED Talk that went viral actually was called My Stroke of Insight. And then she wrote a book about it, about her journey with losing her left brain. And then she wrote another book called Whole Brain Living, which I highly recommend, that talks about how the brain works. And each side of the brain has a thinking center and an emotional center, thinking center and emotional center. Because we typically think of the left brain as thinking and the right brain is emotional. And she's like, no, that's not the way at all. Actually, both sides have both. And in the left brain is the analytical mind that we're familiar with, but it also has an emotional center that tends to fall into fear. It really likes comfort. It really likes to be safe. The right brain emotional center, right, is much more heart-centered, much more blissful, much more compassionate and loving. And then the thinking part is the part that enables us to connect to the all that is, right? How we're reaching out into the cosmos. We go inside and in order to get out. So if we think about this with our meditation practice, that's what we're doing. We go inside and we get still. And if we're there for long enough, we start to get a sense of the cosmos, right? Joe Dispenza works with this all the time, going into the place of no mind, no space, no time, blackness, nothingness, except it's not nothingness, it's everything. And so during this new moon, we're going to be invited to come into stillness so that we can gain a new perspective. Think about that for a minute, right? Come into stillness so we can gain a new perspective. And this is, I can't think of a more important thing to be doing right now, given that there is so much going on in the outer world. And this is something I've been talking about, and many of the spiritual teachers and the psychics and the astrologers have been talking about for quite some time, which is that we need to keep coming back inside because, we have so much going on out there. It's hard to know what to believe anymore, right? And so cultivating your relationship with your inner wisdom, your ability to connect with your soul self, your sovereign self, right? Your spirit aspect, your ability to do that and gain guidance from there, gain that perspective will deeply empower you during this time. And it's a real relief after seeing what's going on out there and not quite knowing what to believe and knowing that a lot of it isn't really true, not being able to sort out, what you want to take in and what you don't, right? All of that is just to be like, I'm gaining my information from the inside. So the new moon is going to really, really help you do that. And it's going to invite you to root that new perspective of your soul self all the way down into the base of your spine. And let's remember in the chakra system, the root is our survival. Right? It's our survival. It's our connection to the earth. And it is a place where survival mechanisms can get activated. It is associated with the adrenal glands, and the adrenal glands are part of our survival mechanism, right? Because adrenaline is there largely to help us in emergencies, right? That's its kind of root instinctual purpose, is to help us with that. So we want to be able to get into that root and bring in a perspective that is not just about survival. It's about us connecting to what's going on in the cosmos and what we can reach through our meditation, through our own ability to go inside so we can go into the portal of the heart to go into the soul plane and receive confirmation, information, acceptance, compassion, acknowledgement, guidance, all of those things that are available to us when we tune more into our spirit aspect and allow our human self to be calmed, to be soothed, and to be directed from that other aspect of self, which is just as much who you are as the you know you to be. It's just that most of us in our culture have been taught that that part doesn't even exist. So I know if you're here, you already know about that, but this is just another opportunity for you to deepen that part even more. The sun in the gate 52 is resting on the earth in the gate 58, which is also on the root center. And the gate 58 is the gate of joy. And it's also called the joy of mastery, or just joy. And it is also in the logic circuit. And so it is about our ability to see patterns and to bring patterns into alignment. And so again, that has to do with perspective, right? Being able to see patterns has to do with perspective. But it really is this kind of joie de vivre. It's like when things come into alignment, we feel joy. Right? When things are all aligned and when you are aligned inside yourself, you feel joy, you feel bliss, and you feel so much more energy. And so this is another piece of this, because let's remember, in human design, the sun and the earth are always opposite each other across the mandala. And so they are like ballasts for each other. They're always informing each other. And so here we have joy informing our perspective. Right? And so let's also remember that joy is one of the best things you can do when you feel overwhelmed, when you feel like things are going sideways around you, is find something that helps bring you joy. Sing, dance, run around, go out into nature. Listen to some music that stirs your heart and lifts you up, right? Be with some friends who, really like to have a good time. Find a way to be experiencing joy and then grounding yourself in that, right? So not only is the earth there, but the earth is lighting up the gate 52, which is on the root center, okay? So it couldn't be more clear to us that we want to be grounding ourselves in this stillness that gives us perspective, fueled by joy. This is a slice of the human design mandala. I wanted to show you where the sun and the moon are together here in the gate 52. And you can see right next to them, they've got Jupiter in the gate 15. Now, Jupiter is going to move into the gate 52 a little bit later in the month, towards the end of the month. I think it's the 27th of June. But the sun and the moon will be gone by then. But we're going to have even more energy around that gate 52. And let's remember that they were just in the gate 15, which is the gate of compassion. This is where the sun and Jupiter were during the the summer solstice. And so we just have been in the gate of compassion, and now we're moving into the gate of perspective. So Jupiter's going to be lighting that up just in a few more days. And then also take a look here that we've got Uranus. It has been in the gate 8, and I'll give you those dates in a second. But look, Venus is right next to Uranus there in the gate 23, and then Venus is going to join Uranus in that gate 8. Uranus moved into the gate 8 this time on March 26th, and is going to be there just for a little bit longer and then move into the gate 52. But Uranus was back in gate 8 a few months ago, and actually last year, and retrograded back into the 23, and then now is moving forward in the gate 8. So the gate 8 is right here on the throat center. It's in the knowing circuit. It's individual circuitry. So it's here to be different. It's here to bring change. It doesn't fit in. And Uranus, of course, is the god of awakening, right? And sudden change and things changing like that, right? So Uranus is here kind of shaking us up about how are we contributing to the world. This is another aspect of the big changes we've been going through, which is to take a look at, like, how are you contributing? This could be your work in the world. It could be how you volunteer or participate in different kinds of organizations or nonprofits or things in your community. Could be, if you have a religious affiliation, or, a temple or a synagogue or a church or whatever it is that you participate in. It could be in any of those ways, right? And it could also be in just how you contribute in your own neighborhood and in your own family. But really taking another look at this, right? And awakening to, hey, what are we doing? Right? What are we doing? And we can see that the old order is just breaking apart, right? I mean, big time, even as it's getting louder and louder. But it is breaking apart. And so what is our role? What is your role in us helping to bring through the new earth, as we're helping to, navigate through this tumultuous time of transition, right? What is your contribution? Does it need a change? change? Does it need an upgrade? Do you need to change something completely different? Like, what is it? I mean, I've been talking to people who have been changing all kinds of things in their lives, right? Or they want to. So Uranus has really been lighting that up for a while now, since a few months. And that now Venus is going to come in and give a little extra boost here at the very end of June. It's June 30th to July 5th. So it's just a few days while Venus is going to be in that gate 8 and coming in and then activating Uranus again. And so let's remember that Venus is our values in human design. It's also the divine feminine energy, right? And so I would pose to you, right? Is your contribution in alignment with your values? Is your contribution in alignment with an expression of the divine feminine, which of course is rising on the planet right now? We need it so much for healing and for balance, right? So take advantage of these few days to really be tuning in. What is it that Venus wants to bring you? What alignment does she want to bring you? Where is she going to help you get more in alignment with your values? And to use the rest of this time that Uranus is here in the gate 8, like I said, so it's going to move on July 10th. So you have a few more weeks to be working with this and to be, just be really honest with yourself. I think this is such a time where we need to get more and more honest with ourselves, because truthfully, we've been taught to not be honest with ourselves. We've been taught to tell ourselves stories that make us believe that we need to fit in order to be safe, in order to be successful, in order to be accepted. Right? This is something we've been taught for a long time. And in times past, not that it's completely gone at all, but in times past, there was a lot of violence and coercion behind that at every level of society. So some of this has changed. We do still see some of that assertion coming forward, but there's so many other things that are happening where, like I said, the divine feminine is rising, where the caring, the compassion, the healing, the connection to the cosmos is rising. And this is what's fueling our ability to be creating the new earth. And so many things are being created now that are very, very exciting. It's just we don't find out about them generally if what we're just watching is the mainstream media. So I just want to encourage you to be honest with yourself and to look at how you've been agreeing to doing things that are not in your highest good. Agreeing to participate in ways that are actually harmful to you, whether that's being codependent with people in your family, codependent with people that you work with, overgiving, over responsibility, thinking it's your job to fix things and to fix people and all of that, right? Just realize that that is not your job. Your job is to take care of you, to come inside and really understand what is the soul-inspired contribution that's yours. It's not about not caring for people, of course, and especially here we are in Cancer season, we want to care for people. We want to facilitate healing. But we want to be able to kind of untangle the ways that we've been too merged with each other, and where we, especially women, have been giving away our power way too much, right? But men do it too at work all the time. And so looking at these things with the agreements that we made unconsciously a lot of times, or made earlier on, or that we just inherited, and we have an opportunity now to break those apart. And it comes from the inside. This is an incredible time of rising personal sovereignty. Let's remember that Neptune and Saturn are both in Aries right now at the creator degree of Aries. And this is all about sovereignty. So if you've been listening to astrologers, they've been talking about this and will continue to talk about it. I've talked about it a bunch, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail there. But just to say, we have rising sovereignty, personal sovereignty. And part of that is for you to get really honest with yourself. And I am not talking about blaming yourself or being self-critical at all. I'm talking about being honest with yourself in the service of your liberation, so that you can get more in touch with the truth of your being and not be living inside of so many different layers of conditioning that we've all been subject to. And as you find them, to be like, wow, not to make yourself bad and wrong. Oh gosh, I believed that all this time. No, just to be like, wow, okay, yeah, that I was living inside of that story for quite some time, right? Could be decades. I mean, I came up with an awareness not too long ago, really, in the last few months, where I realized there was a certain drive that I've always had. And I thought, oh, that's my moon in the gate 54, which is the gate of ambition or drive. So I always thought that was just, part of me. But what I realized was that, and there is a part of me that's like that, because I have a lot of energy and I do feel on mission and purpose, that there is a genuine part of that. But there was a way it was corrupted by culture to make me believe that achievement was what's going to make me safe. And so I pursued it in a way where it was distorted. And so I was living inside of this unconscious belief that I have to achieve in order to be safe. Again, we think about root chakra, right? In order to survival mechanism, it was distorted by a survival thought, right? Which is, I need this in order to be safe. And so, the journey to be understanding the stories we've lived inside of just continues. And that was actually really liberating for me. And the message I got was, Maggie, your job, your life has always been about spiritual growth, not about achievement. Fortunately for me, I learned 25 years ago that my life was about spiritual development. And so for me, spiritual development and achievement have gone together for quite a while. Sometimes they've gotten disjointed. And when they've gotten disjointed, I've always had a harder time. But now I understand that part was tainted by the survival. And I've been pulling my energy out of the survival part and leaning into the value that I have received from having a life of many accomplishments. But then to soften kind of that driving energy, which has burned me out before. So for you to take a look for yourself at the lens that you've been living through, right? What's been motivating you? What's been motivating your contribution? Is it tainted by survival? Is it distorted by conditioning? Is it coming genuinely from your own heart? Chances are it's a mix, right? And you have an opportunity now to pull those pieces apart and liberate yourself from those survival strategies and from that conditioning. And I think that while Venus is there during those 5 days, you're going to have a big extra opportunity to be doing that. So I just want to reiterate that there is a lot of beautiful, auspicious, potent energy that is available to you right now, coming from the planets, which of course are also us, because holographically we are the planets and the planets are us. So it's not like they're out there manipulating us. It's that they're beaming their light into certain soul qualities. And when they do, we realize they light up inside of us, and then we have more access to them. So this is a great time to know what those soul qualities are so that you can be moving into that, coming into stillness, gaining perspective, feeling into the sovereign energies that are being activated by Neptune and Saturn, feeling into the carrying and healing energies that are being activated by the sun and Jupiter right now, right? And the moon. Right? Feeling into all of those and being like, wow, what is that like for me? So that you can empower yourself. You can create your own breakthrough. You don't need it to come from the outside. You can create your own breakthrough when you lean into the soul qualities that are more available to you right now because the planets are lighting them up. And this is especially true if the gates that we've been talking about are white or open in your chart, because then you'll be feeling them more. If they're colored in on your chart, you're already going to have a consistent way of experiencing those energies. But while the planets are lighting them up, you do have the opportunity to upgrade how you're experiencing them if you want to. If you don't know what I'm talking about, do go and get the Understanding Human Design video training. You can watch it as many times as you want to. It's totally free to you. And it does have this, the 3-page PDF that will help you to know how to work with it. And then you can see what's available to you. You can see if new channels light up or if new centers light up and what that means for you. So this could be a supercharged auspicious alignment for you. All right, my friends, many blessings. I send you so much love right now. We really need to be in our hearts. We need to be caring for each other. We need to be like noticing when we get triggered, managing that and not bringing it out to other people, noticing when other people get triggered and giving them the benefit of the doubt, just trying to beam some love to them and not get caught up in whatever their, their mishigas is, right? But not to either reject them either, unless of course they're being dangerous or something, but, but just to be like, and beaming love and caring and compassion to them, because this is how we make our way through this transition, this birth canal that we're in right now. Many blessings. Much love. Mwah.